Hello, darling. Welcome back. Today we are checking out some more Zero. I really loved the first video that we watched, and it seems like you guys did as well, which makes me incredibly happy because we're gonna watch some more, some ludicrous challenge, some just putting yourself through misery for others' entertainment. That's what it's all about, you know? I'm very, very excited. We're gonna see if he can beat Resident Evil 4Rs Berserker mod without dying. I don't know too much about this. Definitely don't know Berserker mod, but it seems, if I have anything to go off of from the last one, seems like it's gonna be a little bit crazy, but I'm very, very excited. I hope you are as well. If you are new here, please do consider subscribing. It'd really help me out. I'd very, 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 very much appreciate it. Thank you. Are you ready? Let's go.
In today's video of how quickly I can give myself a nervous breakdown, we'll be attempting what is undoubtedly the hardest challenge to ever grace this channel. So for the uninitiated, Satan himself recently released the Berserker mod from the inner circles of hell. By overhauling almost the entirety of the game, the mod enhanced the difficulty of Resident Evil 4 Remake quite substantially. From adding in more difficult enemies, new weapons, and undiscovered areas, it helps to change the game from something that was fun for all the family to something that serial killers probably played in their downtime. With the mod, we get 4 new difficulty modes, ranging from mildly passive-aggressive to just straight-up abusive. The most difficult of the 4, however, was the one that caught my eye. This difficulty was so heinous that it wouldn't be out of place to find it on trial for war crimes at The Hague, but obviously, like the deviant child that I was, I refused to play by its rules. I resented the idea that Leon would be forced into dying in any other way than by my own hand. So I decided that we'd be ignoring the one thing this mod so desperately wanted us to do, and set out to beat the toughest difficulty the Berserker mod had to offer us, whilst refusing to let Leon become the opposite of alive. At least, eventually anyway. As usual, the challenge starts with us tracking Grade 2 ballistic storage device and presidential daughter, Ashley G, who'd apparently run away from the White House to join the religious version of ISIS, but had sadly been left disappointed. The most obvious change was that Leon's police officer training had instinctively kicked in as he immediately pulled out his service pistol to interrogate the local wildlife and ask this local homeowner some questions.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Was he actually bad? Did we just kill that man for no reason?
Anyone home? The Berserker mod Fever Dream starts almost immediately when we ominously find the shotgun in the first bedroom, which the inclusion of here would make sense, as when we headed downstairs to the basement, Dr. Salvador had come home, found his porridge eaten, his shotgun stolen, and a shit in his bed. This change set a standard for the rest of the Village Act, with the chainsaw becoming the unofficial star sign of these opening 6 chapters. One half of the fellow sisters was patrolling the path up to the village, and the other one was helping Dr. Salvador mow down their work colleagues in the village, and on occasion, myself. Okay, wait, stop. Just before we broke them, let's cover the rules. And this one you're about to see broken is the absolutely non-negotiable one. We cannot die.
Okay.
Apart from my usual rules like no bonus weapons or charms allowed, this was the only rule that mattered. Every chapter would need to be finished with a resounding 0 in this box, but as we felt Dr. Salvador's soft lavender-infused chainsaw massage our spinal column, there was something about doing a challenge like this, segmented, that just didn't sit well with me. As the difficulty menu proclaimed, Leon Must Die would be a real test of our skills, but if we safe-scummed our way through this challenge, what exactly were we testing? So I proclaimed that as our second rule, there would be no saving allowed, meaning that we'd be beating this steaming pond of diarrhea water in one go.
Yes! Oh, this is gonna be so painful. But when you showed the chapters, I did kind of think that maybe it would be per chapter. So as long as you completed that section without dying. But oh, this is going to be so painful. And this has been like something I recently got into, watching people play games in One Life. I don't know where the bug came from, but it got very, very interesting for me. Like instant. We started watching it with like Poppy Playtime on stream, just us hanging out and everything. Come by the stream if you ever want to just watch stuff to watch stuff. But I like that idea so much now. So like my free time, I just watch people play either like trilogies of games or just like a really, you know, long game in one life. I don't know, it's consumed me. I like it a lot.
Experts were consulted, and the estimate was that I'd probably need around 13 hours, give or take, to complete this challenge without saving, which, if we started early in the day and got a good run cooking, we could easily get this done in one sitting.
Yeah,
The real challenge, however, was making sure that A, we didn't slip into a deep psychosis by having to repeat chapter 1 150 times.
Okay, well, that might be the start of your problem. That's kind of just included, I feel like.
And B, we stopped dying at absolutely incomprehensible parts of the game.
Oh, no.
Returning to the village like we were Tom Cruise in Edge of Tomorrow, thinking we could cheat our way through the opening fight, we tried to use the rifle that spawns in the shotgun's location to shoot the church bell and end this nightmare early. Apparently, this only works on New Game Plus, so it looked as though we'd have to see this through till bingo. But it did open our eyes to what the Berserker mod had on offer for us. They say fortune favors the brave, and if you were brave enough to defeat the second Bella sister here in the village fight, she actually drops Agent 47's iconic silver suitcase that we could either use to secure the jet ski for our escape later, or we could use it to gain an early boost to our inventory size.
Ooh.
Now, changes to enemy item drops like this were something that we'd need to get used to. New and existing enemy spawns were now intrinsically tied to key items and treasure, the latter of which was now almost exclusively found in the pockets of these demons instead of their usual locations. Windmill Cock, as another example usually found on this table in the farm, was now inside this brute's cavity, meaning that if we wanted out of this area, we'd have to pry it from his cold, dead arsehole.
Whoa, I didn't realize what you said you pried it from. Did you wash your hands? Also, I actually really like that. Probably not as someone who would have to play the game, but someone watching, having key items more so be tied to someone, like, let's just say someone guarding it, right? That's not technically what it is, but it is because it's in their inventory, so you have to kill them to get it. I like that. Probably very annoying if you have to play it, but I do like that a lot.
These changes brought a feeling of uncanny valley to the challenge. Sure, on the surface, it felt as though we were playing the Resident Evil 4 remake that we all knew and loved, but finding the doors to the cabin already unlocked and a secretive way into the fishing village via this ladder and bridge made the game feel completely different.
Ooh.
With a TMP retrieved from the cabin and a beetle found on the secretive pathway to the fishing village, we arrive at the cabin to find a record-breaking fourth chainsaw psychopath waiting to baptize us in the basement. But with 2 magnitude 5 earthquakes applied to her forehead and a Coca-Cola Chubba Chub placed in her mouth, we temporarily silence her again, and we arrive to start chapter 2. 1 down, 15 more to go. Entering Dynamite Valley for the first time, there was about a 67.9% chance that I wasn't going to enjoy this. Limited edition collectibles in this area included new RPG Overwatch from the elevated platforms above, Spider Plagas and Hammer Ganados. But the real struggle here was that my back doors were open and constantly being bashed in by these religious extremists. Said the actress to the bishop, but lucky for us, the RPG operators above had room temperature IQs. Volunteers who came in through this window magically disappeared, never to be seen again, and anyone else who was so bold as to break into my back doors again were greeted with a large double serving from the consent shotgun. With Eagle Crank secured, we could commit our second felony home invasion of the day, but this one doesn't go as smoothly as the last.
Hello.
The landlord had pulled up with the village Gestapo and caught me red-handed.
Oh, hi.
The return of the chains...
Yo, that man was just trying to take a fucking dump, dude.
Pulled up with the village Gestapo and caught me red-handed. The return of the Chainsaw Third Reich and their insta-kill potential, as well as Mendes' Tyson-esque right hook, was a potential baptism of fire. Whilst it may look like the odds were stacked against us, the most important rule of this challenge and for the various situations like this that we'd face was to not panic. To stand any chance of beating this challenge, there are certain areas in the game where we need to try and exit the area as quickly as possible. However, for this section and a number of others, patience, discipline, and being immensely careful was the most effective strat we had. Taking a slow, staggered route through the estate ensures that all 3 of these mass debaters keep to the one-way traffic code, meaning one or both of them never try to double back to cut us off. Which 99% of the time it worked.
But
every time. And now, with the strategy in full flow, we can use the door-kicking animation that the Chainsaw Duo are locked into for those first few seconds to issue out democracy without any retaliation.
Oh,
Mendes
nice.
just walks around here like Big Chungus, so we just have to do our best to ignore him. But with time, patience, and the right ratio of lead, we eventually send the other two to Chainsaw Heaven, retrieving the orb and initiating a very realistic rendition of this cutscene. Using all of my other weaponry for this fight as well meant that I'd saved a considerable amount of rifle ammo, allowing me to optimize the restocking of my empty ammo stores on the way back through to Dynamite Valley in Chapter 3 by opening up all the crates that I purposefully left for this return trip.
Oh, so if you're full on an ammo, does it only give you what you need? Or am I misunderstanding him?
Rifle ammo, allowing me to optimize the restocking of my empty ammo stores on the way back through to Dynamite Valley in Chapter 3 by opening up all the crates that I'd purposefully left for this return trip. Back in said valley, we can take a secret.
Game will give you stuff you're lower on. Okay, no, that's fucking genius. Okay, big brain, big brain.
All the crates that I'd purposefully left for this return trip. Back in said valley, we can take a secret ladder up to the walkways above, grabbing a hidden broken butterfly before freeing the good boy en route back to the village. On arriving back in the village centre, Pasanta had broken through the multiverse, and with no sign of the TVA, it was apparently up to us to defeat each of its 3 stages, along with an amount of dogs that was more than annoying, 2 hammer brutes, and the various Pasanta clones. By clearing out the rest of the rabble first, it allows us to simplify a potentially complicated fight. After which we can use the barn, which is actually in play and accessible in this multiversal arena as our designated circuit for the rest of the fight.
What is that?
Despite making it through by the skin of our teeth, Santa's variant was pruned on the first attempt, and after navigating our way through the underground minefield, fighting a brute at the church, and wow, what a fucking surprise, more chainsaw assholes, we eventually arrive at the swamp. The place consisted of equal parts mosquitoes, shitty water, and a large serving of troglodytes, providing us with no less than 3 brutes of varying skills to tango with. That being said, if we timed our very controlled vertical descent to the swamp perfectly, we can immediately stab this one in the back and instantly game end it before sniping the second one as soon as he appears here, drastically moving the odds of our survival in the swamp back into our favor.
Damn.
Brutes or mass troglodytes were nothing compared to a far more deadly enemy lurking under the murky surface of the swamp. This enemy was a silent killer, swimming around our ankles ready to pounce and instantly destroy our progress. What happened? No. At the time, I had no idea why now, all of a sudden, I'd started getting game crashes in the swamp. It seemed to only be happening here and happening consistently. But it wasn't until writing the script that I realised it was a known bug, whose only workaround was to save the game. A sick twist of fate for somebody who couldn't save.
I hate this place.
This was not funky fresh. But eventually, after taking my game files to court, they were ordered to allow me to pass through the swamp. Albeit I ran through here as quickly as I possibly could, intending to return later, but on day 2, attempt number 7, we had made it through to Del Lago and to the start of Chapter 4. The lake segment of this chapter is without a doubt one of the toughest parts of the early game. We had 5 locations to explore here and 2 stone heads to retrieve in order to release the church insignia from its lock here. And things don't get off to a good start.
Ow-wee! Good God!
As I felt this man's dirty thumbs enter my eyeballs, it served as a constant reminder of the absolute stunlock bullshit that could occur in this game, destroying hours of progress in just a matter of seconds, and there was nothing you could do about it. So after another 3 hours of attempts on day 3, when we made it back here to the lake, I made sure to let this guy know what he'd stolen from us.
Some might say that's
the lake section
excessive,
with
but
the most
no.
pleasant of the 5 locations, Chicken Island, where we discovered that the golden egg was now nowhere to be seen, apparently stolen by my sleep paralysis demon who was living at the second location, the Red 9 boat. After battling our demons, we head over to suction up the remaining treasure in the fishing village, stumbling on the Los Illuminados choir from the opening movie sequence. With atheism brought to these lands, we could now shift our focus to collecting the 2 stone heads. Now, if retrieving the stone head from this location was easy peasy lemon squeezy, the second one was difficult lemon difficult, for 2 very annoying chainsaw wielding reasons. Just like the Fast and Furious franchise, the Chainsaw sequels never seemed to end, and we were now fighting for our lives in a place that had the same square footage as a child's Barbie playhouse. It was barely manageable, resulting in a very regrettable workplace accident along the way, which I'll hold my hands up to was 99% my fault. My previous words had never been more apparent. Losing focus or making a split-second bad decision would cost us our life, as well as the run. So we closed out our third day of attempts as another monumental failure, with day 4 initially starting as day 3 left off, with a chainsaw blade entering me without my consent. But on day 5, we start cooking and eventually make it back to the lake. My third attempt at fighting the chainsaw duo involved maintaining this very strict route. By moving up to the first floor, we can maximize damage on both the ladder, through this door, and as they open the door, jumping down to the small dockyard at the perfect moment and repeating the process. By ensuring we didn't deviate from this strategy, we could send these 2 trogs directly to hell. No doubt until we inevitably meet them in 10 minutes time, but we can now turn our attention to our first proper boss fight. Now, before we left for El Gigante, this run put into focus that the currency for this challenge wasn't pesetas as you might think.
Oh, there's a bunch of people.
Health. The longer we could keep ourselves alive for, the better chance we had of being able to do trick shots on the jet ski and...
Is that normal? That's not normal.
The longer we could keep ourselves alive for, the better chance we had of being able to do trick shots on the jet ski.
Was this in the old game? Is this real? This has got to be in the first game or something. There's no way that they put this in the remake. Is this real? Nah, that's normal. I don't believe you. There's something off about this. I don't think this is real.
And secure some overtime back at the White.
Okay, this part's real. This one's real, okay? I didn't even realize when we got here the first time. I was just freaking out about the trick shots and like or whatever it is. Not trick shots, you know what I'm talking about. Why is Joe Byron here? Why? Oh my god.
House. With that in mind, we temporarily suspended the challenge as we started a new career on Ultimate Fishing Simulator, heading out into the lake to stockpile almost every single fish we could find, as well as all the snakes over in Game Crash Swamp, which was surprisingly more stable now. In combination with increasing our max health by swallowing endangered rhinoceros beetles whole, by the time we hit the El Gigante boss fight, we were in seriously good shape.
Why do you have eggs? What does egg do? I'm glad that we have fish for sushi and snake for snake. But why do you have eggs? Egg very good? I mean, I do love a hard-boiled egg. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't know.
Even when we got to the church and we were ambushed in the confessional by some absolutely jacked up priest, both fights made next to no dent in our pool of available healing items. As we started chapter 5, however, the difficulty had now reached levels that no amount of healing items could change. I have a very much hate, loathe, despise relationship with Ashley.
Wait, if she dies, does it count as a death? Is it one of those games where the person... It is... Oh, no. Dude, escort missions fucking blow. But on top of this... I feel like I already know the pain that's about to happen.
I am having a very bad day.
In most challenges we've done together, she's pretty annoying, but the rules give us a bit of flexibility with her incompetence. On this permadeath run, however, Ashley's AI seemed to be being operated by Bing. I'd sooner rather have fought my way through 1,000 chainsaw enemies by myself than what I had to go through in chapters 5 and 6 with Ashley.
Oh,
The opening fight outside
no.
the church can be easily cheesed by returning back to this ladder to reset the enemy AI, and after we fight our way back to Mendes' house, we make a disturbing discovery up in his attic.
Listen, you son of a bitch. What the fuck's your problem?
We find a
Is that guy? Is that dude guy? Is that Joe Rogan? Is that guy?
his attic.
Listen, you son of a bitch. What the fuck's your problem?
Alex Jones. Okay, I'm so sorry. I don't know the what's it? I don't know the voices. I apologize. Alex Jones. My bad.
We found a
streamer.
weird little naked goblin that he'd been keeping prisoner up here, which, along with a camera and a suspect selection of photos,
Whoa.
one could only imagine what devilry had been going on up here. After washing our eyes out with bleach in the toilet, on the return leg to the village, we get a taste of the crippling inflation that the Berserker mod had gripped Pueblo with. We were now expected to defeat 2 savage mutts, all for the same reward of 8 spinels. 100% enemy increase for the same reward. There was certainly a strong case for unionizing after this run, but regardless though, after putting the 2 dogs down, it did give us enough spinels to purchase the body armor, another tool in our arsenal to help preserve our very precious health bar.
Okay.
After we clear out the farm area, we arrive at the first of a series of pivotal make or break moments for the village act, the first of which is the cabin fight. For the most part, it follows the same strategy as any other professional run would, except that the cabin apparently was also hosting Chainsaw Con 2024. Dr. Salvador arrived first, followed by Wow, Paint Me Surprised and Call Me Leon, the other 2 Chainsaw sisters again. With all of us and a brute rammed into the cabin, it was only a matter of time before there was an accident. That guy pushed me and he ate my block! We'd fallen at the first hurdle. But despite the looming stress of the rest of Chapter 6, a positive, if there was any, was that we'd become hugely efficient at repeating Chapters 1 to 5.
Okay.
Actually, it's total dogshit, but some careful Peseta conservation meant that we'd maxed out the bolt action's damage early to help make the Pesanta, El Gigante, and Chainsaw fights a lot quicker. And I'd also started utilising the harpoons on the boat to speed up our fights around the lake. Now, if you kill anything with the harpoons, the enemy won't drop the items that they were carrying, so for the weird little boat-dwelling demon and the brutes here, I worked out that 3 harpoons weaken them enough to make them basically one-shot. And for the Chainsaw twins, the one in the green skirt actually only drops 1 spinel, which, to be honest, was the equivalent of like 20p. So we take out the other one on the dock to make sure she drops the 10k brooch.
What the
Whoa!
Then the
Whoa!
other one to death like the whale she was. Back at the cabin, with negative reviews piling up on Trustpilot, we decide to bring Old Faithful with us to accelerate the decrease in the amount of chainsawers in here. And
Oh
after
my
what felt like a
god!
lifetime, for the first and only time ever, I was relieved to see Ashley's face. Which, let me tell you, the feeling of relief lasted all of 5 seconds.
Oh no.
The start of Chapter 6 begins with us being descended on by what can only be described as the Ganado Plague. The checkpoint was a complete mess. I panicked, thinking that I was losing control of my one good run for day 6, and throwing a flash grenade to try and speedrun my way through here in shock, ended by someone rugby tackling Ashley into the back of their white panel van.
No!
On the Bible, God can strike me down if I'm lying. That motherfucker is cheating.
On day 7,
No.
on attempt 4, we arrived back at Chapter 6, opting this time instead to make a last stand in this doorway. It seemed like a tense option, but it was going well. That was until I 360 no-scoped Ashley in the face.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. Oh no! Oh no! You can't even see her.
That was until I 360 no-scoped Ashley in the face.
Oh no!
How this absolute bullshit unfolded was quite honestly unbelievable. In the confusion whilst lining up this phase-sponsored collateral on these 2 brutes, this random Ganado who had abducted Ashley decided to walk around the corner at the exact same time that I pulled the trigger, resulting in Ashley joining the kill feed.
Damn.
This was about as freak of an accident as you can get, and despite it being highly unlikely to ever happen again, in our defense, we'd absolutely smashed it. Day 8 didn't really get me anywhere, but despite Day 9's very tense cabin fight, we arrived back at Chapter 6 within 3 hours or so.
Okay.
My next attempt here yielded a new strategy that I'd like to refer to as the Ashley backpack strategy. When we trigger the checkpoint onslaught, the Berserker mod places a boulder over the route we'd just come in from in an attempt to reduce the amount of space we could fall back to and force us to fight here.
Okay.
But what it also does is block Ashley's kidnappers in with us. If Ashley gets shoplifted and taken towards the merchant's hut, this rock debris here breaks the AI's pathing. It wants to go up this path so it can complete the Ashley abduction animation, but with the path inaccessible, the computer says no, resulting in it just walking in place with Ashley on its back. This allows Ashley the backpack to just enjoy the ride, take the load off her feet and relax, whilst we fight for our goddamn lives.
Yay! You're doing great.
My sweet.
Just being held in like the corner. You're doing great. Keep up the good work. I believe in you. Oh my god.
My sweetie pie. You're my cup.
Eventually, after eating enough fish that we'd probably given ourselves mercury poisoning, we'd survived the onslaught. But Chapter 6 was only just about to start reaching critical mass. After you place Ashley inside one of these lockers and grab the crank, a World War chainsaw breaks out around us. This time, the entire chainsaw family arrives to either send us off to the castle or send us to heaven. They're also accompanied by 2 brutes, 14 ganados, and about every variation of plaga you could possibly imagine. Now, sadly, the odds of getting our nipples violently chainsawed off here had increased substantially, but...
Why just your... What, is that where they aim? I've seen you getting a chainsaw to the back. I haven't seen their pipple... Pipple? Their nipple piercing practice. It's not even funny anymore. I just can't. I'm ashamed of myself. Their pipple. I'm just gonna shut up now and I'm gonna play the video again.
Now, sadly, the odds of getting our nipples violently chainsawed off here had increased substantially, but I developed an impeccable strategy for this segment. Surprise, it's just me running around in a circle again. This section was no different to round 55 of zombies, and our plan would follow the same principles. First, if we jump down here and unlock this door, leaving the other outer door locked, it prevents any ganados from blocking our exit out, giving us a clear way through to this ladder. Once we made it up on the second lap around, all the enemies are either grouped up on this ladder, which is perfect grenade territory, or running towards us down this straight line, which is perfect territory for us to provide these guys with long-term health issues. I wish, though, that I could say that everything was plain sailing. Ashley, despite being told to wait in the locker, decides at a random point that she just wants to come out and join the carnage. Which, let me tell you, was about the least convenient thing that could have ever happened here.
Oh, are you kidding?
2 additional days and 11 attempts later, we were
56! 56 attempts. Ooh, okay.
We were back again, and this time, before Ashley had broken quarantine to join us, we'd managed to flash, snipe, and demolish all of the regular ganados, ensuring that nobody but the chainsawers and plagas were left to contend with, all of which couldn't abduct Ashley. With the area liberated and the checkpoint door finally cranked open, it was now time to begin the Mendes fun run. Despite risking it all for a chocolate biscuit to grab this heavy grenade, which in hindsight was not worth the risk, we flash our way past the dogs and Mendes before my heart literally drops out of my body.
What?
But joining the cutscene moments later allows my heart to begin pumping oxygen to my brain again, and before we knew it, we were fighting Mendes inside this life-size wood burner. We're joined by enemies in both stages, the first of which is 2 brutes, who, once they're removed, allows us to focus on Mendes, where 4 magnum rounds will help us to eject his legs. The second phase triggers 2 plaga ganados, who are at the very least a very annoying distraction from the flaming planks of wood that were being launched at us. All in all, this wasn't really a problem, and after we repeat step 1 with the magnum, Mendes was finally defeated. Bad, bruised, you'd expect to now have a peaceful stroll up to the start of the castle. Well, you would be wrong.
Oh no. Not more.
In Mendes' last will and testimony, he hands the task of our murder over to an old friend we'd recently met. The tension I felt in this moment made my hands shake, and despite being sandwiched between another platoon of enemies, with a well-timed flash, the magnum and several slices to the neck allow us to retrieve the Salvador family necklace, and more importantly, after 11 days and 53 attempts, we were finally able to taste the sweet, sweet start of Chapter 7. You could smell the
Nice
religious
progress.
extremism flowing out from the castle walls, and with the shotgun of atheism, we battle through wave after wave of barefoot Scientologists.
Can I get you some ice milk?
Ew.
Too? Eat shit, dwarf.
Lord Tyrion grants us a trial by combat, but had named his champion as this guy. It certainly wasn't the usual red carpet entrance we were used to as Verdugo runs towards us at 60 miles an hour, but this was a lot easier than you might think. If you throw a grenade at the first two shield enemies straight away, Ashley will get kidnapped by the helmet Scientologist, and whilst we dodge Verdugo's barrel rolls and pick off the remaining cultists, the abductor will get stuck at this door.
Nice.
Similar to the rocks blocking the path in Chapter 6, for this fight, the main door is locked to prevent us from leaving. Meaning we can
Nice.
again take advantage of the Ashley backpack strap whilst we go one-on-one with Verdugo, who it turns out has a bigger weakness than liquid nitrogen. All we needed to do was sit behind any pillar we like and simply dance around it. When Verdugo would attack, the pillar's collision would cause him to swing wide, which gave us the perfect opportunity to hit him whilst he was in his recovery animation, and before you know it, one of the toughest enemies the game had to offer was defeated. Just don't celebrate too early and forget to grab Ashley after you're done.
I feel somewhat responsible. I did start the celebration, so I guess this one's on me.
What? After spending 2 days dying of embarrassment that I'd allowed Ashley to just be walked out of that door, we get back to the castle, and on day 13, for a few extra pesetas, the merchant helps to restrain Verdugo on his table whilst we beat him up. Now, within the castle, we conduct our own panorama investigation into the abhorrent disability discrimination that was prevalent in the castle.
Oh, what now?
Panorama investigation into the abhorrent disability discrimination that was prevalent in the castle. We find out that blind people were apparently being kept in the lower dungeons, segregated away from the non-blind people. We now had 2 Garradors to fight in here, one of which has
my
the dungeon
God!
key. There was a huge turning point in this run, gifted to us out on the castle battlements. On this table, we'd find the semi-auto sniper rifle, which when we upgraded its firepower and fire rate, it absolutely melted Garradors away at alarmingly quick rates. There is a caveat, however, that you do need to know how to aim.
Oh.
With both Garradors silenced and the dungeon key retrieved, we could eat some fish in the privacy of the dungeon to restore our missing health, before we're served up the next course at the all-you-can-eat diarrhea buffet, the water hall, which had all the water in here converted into lava, undoubtedly to match how much this place resembled the 9 circles of hell. Luckily, we'd been gifted a new shotgun after defeating the Garradors, which we put to good use by luring everyone back into the opening doors and funneling them directly into my line of fire. With the first wave cleared and the scum of Satan scrubbed from the balconies, we take care of the second wave safely from up here, retrieving the Master Chief Will from underneath the Knight's Guard of Honor. Once we take it, 2 waves of these knights come to life, as well as a further wave of enemies upstairs, protecting the platform from being lowered to the second area. Ashley's section follows the usual...
Is this... Am I hearing amnesia music?
...upstairs, protecting the platform from being lowered to the second area. Ashley's section follows the usual formula...
Is that amnesia? I'm sorry, that's like so random, but it just clicked. He's mixing a ton of other games' music for background. Oh, so it might be then. It, like, I was listening to him talk, and then it just, like, dawned on me. It sounds like amnesia. Huh.
Guard of Honor. Once we take it, 2 waves of these knights come to life, as well as a further wave of enemies upstairs, protecting the platform from being lowered to the second area. Ashley's section follows the usual formula of me letting her get kidnapped to take her over to the second wheel, but we're interrupted this time by the return of the 2 Garradors from the dungeon.
Hi!
As we battled the Garradors and their irrational anger issues, our first attempt was an unmitigated disaster.
Oh no!
Just as I was lining up a rescue shot to release Ashley, some shoeless homeless man grabbed me to ask for my spare change. When we revealed that we didn't have any, he forces me to watch on as Ashley helplessly slips out of our fingertips and down to the Sheen factory floor to begin making clothing. It was at this point that I began having an existential panic attack. With survival rates for this challenge now dropping to a staggering -1, to ensure I remained at optimal performance levels and didn't actually go insane, day 14 was a rest day. But we returned on day 15 to completely destroy the mental health that I'd just recuperated. I'm stuck. I can't move.
Damn.
On day 16, we make an elite run back to the castle, where apparently the arrival of the Gyarados and the Waterhall is triggered by either of these platforms being lifted up. This time we turn our platform wheel first before we send Ashley up, and the Gyarados arrive immediately, which gives us an extended period of time to dispatch them both before Ashley is kidnapped and reinforcements arrive. With this new organised approach, both Gyarados are defeated. Ashley successfully makes it over in one go to raise the other platform, and we're able to secure the ground floor against these fascists. Once the last platform is up, we can't escape to Chapter 8 as quick as we'd like due to flamethrower heads appearing out of the lava, so we take the safe option and beat the remaining forces back, giving us the opportunity to finally close out Chapter 7 and enter undiscovered territory in Chapter 8. I'm not gonna lie, this chapter was beautiful. Not only because Ashley had been given a promotion at the Sheen factory, but we now had access to the legendary pool of infinite fish. As discussed, heals were the maker or breaker of this run, and making sure we had abundant refills would be the difference between survival or failure. This pool at the start of the chapter would magically fill itself back up with fish as we made our way throughout the castle, which was a fantastically sustainable health alternative to herbs and first aid sprays. With 4 juicy basses and 1 large bass already raw and wriggling in our pockets, it meant only one thing.
Looks like meat's back on the menu, boy.
The Red Robe's exorcism room followed a very simple hit and run strategy. We sneak through to the right as usual and pummel the Red Devil into religious submission, allowing us to grab the lantern, the ruby mirror, and use the red barrels and our superior agility to dodge past the knights, plagas, and fanatics to make a quick exit out of there. Before we made it to the battlements, we're confronted by C-3PO in the corridor, who wouldn't let us through until we'd beaten the human-cyborg relations out of him. To defeat the droid, its large turning circle meant that we could use the door frame to get behind him and pummel the exposed back plaga until Anthony Daniels was revealed, allowing us to no-scope him out of existence.
Oh, damn!
We stumble into a game of Helldivers 2 where you should never forget that the only good bug is a dead bug. And with a flash, we vaporize these
Okay, all right. You know, I was gonna be offended because, like, technically, as a butterfly, I'm kind of an insect, which is like a bug, but I don't, you killed him. You killed him dead. You killed him dead, you killed him quick, you killed them all. I don't like it. Oh, it gives me I got chills. I don't like it.
Roaches before they overwhelm us and take our classic shortcut through the battlements. We get some cathartic mid-game therapy by absolutely battering these crossbow women up here. Now, before anyone says anything, I'm a strong advocate for women's rights and equality. If these crossbowers were male, I'd have battered them as well. The ladder we used to get up here was very effective at beating the next group of enemies back by driving them to a slow and painful death by exhaustion by making them repeatedly climb up here.
Oh, no, you don't.
It was then time to start our cinematic sprint from El Gigante, and the level of trolling in this last segment before Chapter 9 was off the charts. First up, there's a bear trap conveniently placed right here, and a pretty sus box in the room below, surrounded by knights. On my first casual playthrough, I found out the hard way that if you open it, there's nothing in there, and you get trapped in here with all these suits of armor as well. So we instead avoid making the same mistake and use the cannon to pacify the big guy. If we patiently hold our next shot and wait for the perfect moment, we can take a nice chunk out of the invading helmet army and arrive to complete Chapter 9, releasing an injection of dopamine directly into my prefrontal cortex. Whilst the feeling of progress felt great, as soon as the dopamine engulfed my brain, the game chose this moment to rupture my delicate aneurysm once inside the maze. Like some murderous beret-wearing Randy Orton, he was waiting patiently to rugby tackle us, call us sloppy, and blind us with a lamp for no reason. But thinking this was no more than a scripted sequence, you can imagine the absolute blind panic that I went into when Krauser grabbed Ashley. Pressing F did nothing, and point-blank shotgun shots had no effect. I had no idea what was happening here, but before I could even think, Krauser sliced Ashley's head off.
What?
All I knew for certain was that we'd been robbed.
No.
That same night, I submitted a police report stating that a man in a red beret had robbed everything I held dear. But to this day, nobody has been caught. Day 16 had now ended with no progress to our name. My blood pressure was up 45%, my desire to punch my fist through my monitor was up 125%, and the counter that I had tracking the number of F-bombs dropped was showing an error. But this wasn't the end. Despite making me want to eat glass, this challenge had led me to believe that the closer we got to the latter chapters of the game, the easier the game would get. Now, I know that sounds like I've been sniffing glue, but hear me out. Whilst you'd expect the game to get incrementally more difficult for this challenge, the more progress we made, the more health items we got, the more max health we got, and the better weapons and upgrades we got.
True.
Now, we couldn't take into consideration acts of God that were beyond human comprehension, out of our control, and also complete bullshit. But in terms of just surviving the main story, looking at the statistics of our attempts so far, it matched this hypothesis. Out of our 77 attempts so far, a whopping 92% of them had come in the first 6 chapters. If we could make it to the castle in a relatively strong position, I had the right dosage of copium that made me think we could make it to the end of the game. So day 17 started with a positive mental attitude, but this quickly went downhill, moving to more of a negative, deranged breakdown, losing several attempts en route to the checkpoint, where we lost in heartbreaking fashion. But day 18, through blood, sweat, and an amount of tears I don't wish to disclose, we make it back to chapter 9. Now, entering the maze, we approached Krauser's trigger facing backwards, and with Ashley ordered to stand at least 4 miles away from me. This
Oh my
attempt
god,
yields
oh my
much
god!
better results.
What the hell?
Ashley ordered to stand at least 4 miles away from me. This attempt yields much better results. In amongst the dogs, Krauser ambushes us one more time at the final flag, but once he was pepper sprayed away and all 3 of them had been lowered, we could double back to do another spot of fishing, boost Ashley over into the secret room here to do a spot of plundering before we arrived at the Grand Hall. The hall felt particularly nefarious now. With 6 hours of progress on the line, these next 3 areas were not to be underestimated as the biggest threat to reducing these hours to 0. So to start with, the snake room is more or less the same. That is, apart from a bunch of bedsheet-wearing troglodytes waiting for us at the exit.
I can't see f***ing shit out of this thing. Who made this goddamn shit?
What about you, Robert?
You see? Not too good.
After sending these ghouls and their 1,000 thread counts back to the dry cleaners, we can head through to grab the goat's head. As per usual, throwing a flash here prevents us from being dropped down into the fighting pits below, in turn giving us a solid area to hold in what was to be an epic defense of the bridge. The sticking point here is that the enemy numbers have basically doubled, turning a very standard area into a desperate fight for our lives. But that being said, after firing every single bullet we had, we do get a free rocket launcher for our troubles, which we put to good use later. Finally,
What kind of move is that?
launcher for our troubles, which we'd put to good use later.
Wait, yo, how do you move like that, man? Is that the worm? Is that what the worm looks like?
Finally, we leave the worst until last. The Lion's Head room, which was the one room that had been giving me stage 4 diabetes.
Oh no.
In our final test of our faith, we have practically doubled the amount of knights to fight here than usual, all of which were basically Golden Knight reskins with, just for good measure, a few actual Golden Knights thrown in here as well. Not only that, after each wave of knights we defeat, we'd be rewarded with a Garrador who teleport themselves down here to join the fray. Failure to clear out the enemies quickly enough meant that you could be facing the prospect of fighting 2 Garradors and 4 Golden Knights all at the same time. Wave 1, though, was Garradorless and fairly uncontested.
Oh my god.
A quick TMP to kick these guys' helmets off allows us to abracadabra them away, and if we then immediately position ourselves here, we can engage the first Garrador as soon as he drops down. With the perfect aim and positioning, we can snipe his plugger off before the second wave of knights have even reached us. Because we've done this so quickly, we can then maximize Ashley's blue torches without getting interrupted by the Garrador, making wave 2 a simple formality. With them taken care of, if you're good enough, you can do the same for the second Garrador, but on this occasion my aim was absolute dog piss, so we had to just heal through the barrage of damage we were about to take. Instead, we were able to lure the Armadoras into the Garrador's attacks, getting a friendly fire assist to help defeat them. The fight was tough, and with a huge portion of our heals used up, eventually all of the Armadoras were defeated, leaving us 1v1 with the Garrador, which after a quick snipe we deport him from this mortal realm and are gifted the Striker Charm for our troubles.
My
with
god.
this bad boy hanging from our attache case, we could move back to the fish pond at record speeds. Before it was time to send Ashley down to the catacombs to retrieve the Salazar emblem, but this wasn't to be the breather section, it usually was. The obvious change you'll notice here is that there is no lantern for us to collect. As if I didn't already have enough PTSD in this section to last me a lifetime, I was now going to receive additional PTSD to last me 2 lifetimes. The anxiety here doesn't really pick up until we hit the catacombs downstairs, where we have to turn all of these lanterns on to unlock the door, whilst avoiding the insta-death that the knights here were itching to dish out. After some pre-lantern pull analysis, our best option here was to wait behind this knight after pulling the last door switch, which forces the other pursuing knights to pass us wide, ensuring that the route to the emblem room was clear of death. The biggest hurdle had now been overcome, and the return leg with the Salazar crest wasn't nearly as troubling as the way in, allowing us to drop off the treasure we'd found in here to Leon as we began Chapter 10. The beginning of this chapter starts off in true Leon Must Die fashion by enclosing us back in the Chimera puzzle and throwing another Gyarados in to keep us company, who was indeed committed to making Leon die. But despite a very tense atmosphere, a quick flash gives everyone a time out, and with the additional breathing room, we can disable the blind man even further, as well as our fellow spectators.
Ooh.
With the mausoleum tidied up and the legendary Killer 7 now in our possession, we head—
Whoa, hold on a minute. Impromptu gun review. I hate this, dude. If you've ever seen me talk about the guns in Zach's gun rants, I hate a lot of optics. I don't know why. I just do. Okay. This in particular, why? What is the point? Are you just so you can pew pew from very far away? Why? Why? Why is it the same size as the pistol? It's a laser sight. Okay, hold on. I will reserve judgment. Well, still, no, dude. Just put it on the side or something. I don't like it. No, I don't like mini sniper. No, I hate it. Just put it on the side of the gun, or like just don't put it there at all, man. I don't know. I hate it.
possession, we head back to the pond to clone some more fish and repair our armor ready for the ballroom.
Whoa,
this
that's
place
pretty.
didn't really have the Saturday night Strictly Come Dancing vibe that I was looking for. The nobody's not only turned the ballroom into a—
Oh my god. These are not my cousins. I do not know these people. This is not, I don't, bleh, bleh, bleh. Oh god, oh jeez. This is the second time that I've gotten goosebumps from this game. I hate bugs.
Swingers Club, but we had illegal amounts of possessed steel walking around the place, as well as some religious backup coming from the rear.
Oh my god!
If we could make it down to this door, however, we can use it to reset the Armadura's spawn points, giving us enough room to battle towards both of the switches. Once the switches were pulled, dropping down either of these shortcuts gets the armor stuck down either of these routes, leaving us free to curb the Novi population without any contest. After lowering the two switches, it was time. You may have been wondering what foul horrors awaited us in the Gyarados trap room, and I can tell you, ironically, it follows the same formula as always. At this point, I usually mention how the blindness had been doubled in this room from 1 Gyarados to 2. Well, it had been doubled again, but this time from 2 Gyarados to 4.
Oh.
When I say health items reign supreme, it was moments like this that proved that statement correct. We were getting defiled in here. From left, right, and head on. For a solid 10 minutes, I was slashed, stabbed, bonked, and clotheslined, desperately hammering my inventory to try and cling to life. So many times we healed within a frame of death, but we were faced with a new problem. We were burning through our herbs, our fish, and our first aid sprays at an alarming rate.
Ooh.
My body armor had been turned into nothing but rags, and soon enough, we had nothing left.
Excuse me.
No.
I need your help. You need to kill me.
Despite being moments away from being manually castrated, the Gyarados in between assaulting us had been helping us to thin out all of the zealots who'd been entering this room, now leaving just the 5 of us. With no healing items remaining though, this made the decisions that followed crucial. Just one, I can't believe you've done this, and I'd be sliced like jelly ham, and we'd be heading back to the start of the game to scream at the intro sequence for the 76th time.
I'm tired, boss.
Oh.
Tired of being on the road.
No.
Whilst my heart was—
Dude, side note, that movie is so fucking sad.
Tired of being on the road, lonely as a sparrow in the rain.
Whilst my heart was pounding out of my chest and I was under pressure to make the right choice, I was still patient. With no more external factors influencing our decision-making, I waited and waited and waited until an opportunity appeared. All 4 of these discount daredevils had managed to group up together, so we took that moment to throw them a Michelin star entree of a flash grenade to keep them in place, followed by a main course of 2 heavy grenades. From there, like dominoes, they began to fall. One by one, the Gyarados were struck with the hammer of justice, sentencing them all to death, all to the celebratory screams of Ashley next door. After being thrown into the dungeon, we find a Regenerador living down here who'd apparently stolen the crown in this guy's lap and replaced it with Ada's blast crossbow. Not a bad trade, to be honest, but I was going to need that crown as well, my friend. So after popping the Iron Maiden like a balloon, it gives us the stolen crown. And for Verdugo, if I can be perfectly honest, I was just not feeling it. In a new note provided by Mr. Engineer, he claims that the nitrogen showers would go offline until the lift arrived due to its excessive power consumption. That meant we'd have to go toe-to-toe with a fully unencumbered Verdugo, as well as contending with all of the additional horrors down here. With all that in mind, and with how we were closing in on victory, risking it now for a fancy corrective lens for one eye just wasn't worth. So after forcing Verdugo back into the sewer pipes from whence it came after calling the lift, we thin out his entourage of Plagas and Novicidors whilst periodically providing a shotgun amputation to the Iron Maiden.
Oh my god!
We zoom around and pick everything up and loop Verdugo and his friends around the sewers until we were ready to leave. There was no shame with a tactical retreat back to the lift, especially after spending 18 days going through hell just to get this 7 hours of progress. I think on this occasion, I could forgive myself.
Yeah, that's
Meeting
fine.
up with Luis in chapter 11, we do some hardcore drugs together before heading in to grab the dynamite from the cave-marked M4. Before we even jump down, we can sneak a few shots in here to take care of this brute. And with the rifle and Killer 7 combos, the two Bella sisters hiding out here and their backup were hardly an inconvenience. The inconvenience, though, does arrive when we head over to grab the dynamite, which had apparently been taken by an old friend. Despite the arrival of this guy making me feel physically sick from anxiety, our movement through this area was solid. Doubling back and doing a circuit like this ensures he remains at the very least an arm's length away from us. Although I will admit at times that unit of measurement was sometimes a little closer than I liked. But with disciplined shooting, strict movement, and Luis displaying levels of chattery that had never graced my eyeballs, we finally removed the white mask of Salvador to reveal.
We do a little trolling as well. We do a little trolling.
Anyways, with the dynamite retrieved, we can clear the cave in and arrive at the fight with the double El Gigantes in the smelting room.
Whoa.
These two take the absolute privilege of accepting the rocket launcher we'd found in the Goat's Head room. It's a worthwhile investment as the entire arena gets flooded with Ganados as well as fucking shock, the Bella sisters again.
No!
So rather than risk anything, placing this rocket perfectly between them both gets us a nice double kill and ends the fight in a matter of seconds. We do still have to take...
What? I thought they were just stunned. Wait, that actually was a one-hit kill?
Perfectly between them both gets us a nice double kill and ends the fight in a matter of seconds.
Yo, that's
We do still have to take care
sexy.
of the Bella sisters, but it's a lot easier without two giants trying to squish us between their toes. Off-brand Disneyland was a nice break away from the usual brain rot we've been subjected to, but this break, as always, was never gonna last. Arriving at the Novicidor's hive, we immediately can't see Luis. Apparently, we're supposed to believe that he'd flown off the minecart and landed directly into the lift. How convenient for him. But this placement smelt pretty sus. Whilst it did mean that we'd have to brave the Novicidor's homeworld by ourselves, we'd found a pretty special weapon on the way in. For those that don't know, the flamethrower was apparently an unused weapon whose files had been hidden deep within the game's archives under the codename WP4701. The Berserker mod had resuscitated this thing of beauty, giving it ammo and merchant upgrades, meaning mobile cremations were but a trigger press away as we proceeded to napalm the Novicidor's homeland. But it wasn't until we reached this opening that something felt wrong. There was something different about this area, but before we could question it any further, there she was. The big-tailed beauty had made her anticipated return.
Whoa.
Now, not to sound like that guy, but the fight with Passanta was, if I can be honest, pretty easy. She's got all the grace and decorum of a reversing dump truck with no wheels, with the real annoyance coming from the periodic invasions of the Novicidors into the arena. After batting them back every few minutes or so, the Killer 7 and semi-auto sniper combo helps to cut short this multiversal invasion and transport Passanta back to its correct timeline again.
Whoa.
After we find ourselves in one of the Tomb Raider remastered levels, we rendezvous with Luis, who rightly gets stabbed in the back for leaving us to deal with all of that bullshit by ourselves. With Krauser repelled like the little sex pest that he was, we double back to the throne room to retrieve the second golden egg from prison and some additional treasure before throwing weapons of reproductive destruction at the Mona Lisa. We double back one final time for our last helping of sushi and head into the clock tower segment with a prayer and a dream.
Hey, yo! Are you feeling yourself? You just having a moment in the middle of all this? I mean, I can't really say anything. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you just wanna like pose up and be cool, get your Instagram pictures, you're entitled to that. I'm gonna be honest.
Back one final time for our last helping of sushi and head into the clock tower segment with a prayer and a dream. But one thing we didn't head into here with was the new flamethrower, because apparently that shit can crash your game here, which I'm not in the market for.
Yeah, no thank you.
The strategy for the start of the tower was to get Salazar to do as much of the work for us as we could. By running around everyone here on the ground floor and initiating the fire-breathing Salazar head on the floor above, if we pace the approaching enemies perfectly, they'll be cooked to medium rare without us having to lift a finger.
Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. Very convenient.
And by also attracting as many of the other enemies up the tower as we could, we can get them to suffer the same fate as well.
Nice!
On our way up, shooting the Helmet Zealot prevents him from releasing any more of his balls of death, which on Pro are an insta-kill. And after we kindly take up the mantle of Ball Dropper ourselves, any of the attackers pursuing us up the tower are pancaked, including the Red Zealot who arrives just after we start our ascent.
That's kind of hot. It's kind of nice. I bet that feels really fucking good. I'm gonna be honest with you. After all this fucking bullshit, I bet that feels really, really fucking nice. Ain't gonna lie.
And after we kindly take up the mantle of Ball Dropper ourselves, any of the attackers pursuing us up the tower are pancaked, including the Red Zealot who arrives just after we start our ascent. The defense of the elevator platform was straightforward enough, meaning our focus could now shift to the Salazar boss fight. Now, in my casual Leon Must Die playthrough, you wouldn't be wrong in assuming that anemic little shit would still be allergic to protein, with me saving my 2 golden eggs for this exact moment. However, like the absolute trolls that the devs were, I tested the eggs again before starting this challenge, and the conclusion is that either Salazar's golden egg allergy has been cured or drastically reduced, or he has a phase of invulnerability programmed in. So with that in mind, I wasn't around here. I used the golden eggs I'd collected to make a golden omelette for me and the merchant and bought a rocket launcher instead, which was the right choice because the feeling of making it to the island in chapter 13 was nothing short of beautiful.
Yay!
We had every component that we'd need to complete this now. I had the time, I had the money, I had the weaponry, and I had the health. By triggering the alarm in the opening concentration camp, we can lure everyone back towards the merchant where the AI has a Gandalf-induced brain fart and will not pass, allowing us to take everyone out in a controlled and orderly fashion.
Nice.
Knowing that the end was nigh, the game resorts to cheap tactics to try and stop us. It starts hiding mines around the place that not even fucking Jesus Christ himself would have been able to see.
Oh no!
And inconspicuous vases filled with Semtex. We do get a boost to our arsenal, however, as inside the shrine it's revealed that the first settlers to the island had originally worshipped the Striker's shotgun.
Okay. All right. You know, sure, I guess.
Which, to be fair, I'd worship too, because this thing absolutely slaps.
All right, okay.
Krauser, being the insufferable dickhead that he was, had also set up his turrets all over the island to defend the route in.
Ooh.
But not even they could stop us from clearing this rabble out, retrieving another crown, and relieving the 2 brutes guarding Ashley's prison from their duties. In the lab, any differences weren't immediately apparent, but when switching on the power to the freezer room door, we get a nice injection of nostalgia when we head back to OG RE4's laser grid, taking a little zap for old time's sake. The laser grid was really in place to make our return trip through here with the Regenerador chasing us a little more awkward, as the shutter to our left doesn't work anymore. So instead, we remove the latter from the equation by revealing its plagas with the Striker and destroying it the manual way. After rewriting the keycard...
Holy fucking jiggle. Hold on a minute.
Equation by revealing its plagas
Yo,
with the
the
Striker and destroying it the
physics.
manual way.
The physics. Oh my god. Okay. Yo, that's as bad as me, bro. There is no excuse for your butt to jiggle that much, dude. Oh my god, you got the VTuber booba jiggle physics update, okay? Are you kidding?
The equation by revealing its plagas with the Striker and destroying it manually. After rewriting the keycard, we find the thermal scope in its original place from OG RE4 as well, which means we can take out the second Regenerador and retrieve the wrench downstairs from the Iron Maiden who had ingested it. With the card in place, Resident Evil D-Day now begins.
Uh-oh.
We man the machine gun and begin mowing down the onslaught that had arrived in the lab.
Whoa! Whoa! Oh, that's sick.
Mowing down these ghouls was like ASMR to me, but before we run dry, we get pulled off of the turret by one of the spider monkeys. Now, under no circumstances did we want to be fighting or stuck in this room, so we released a flash into the army congregating outside here, giving us enough time to run back out towards the way we'd come in. Like Obi-Wan, we now had the high ground, and with everyone being filtered up towards me and making tactical retreats for more distance, it makes this whole segment so much more manageable. After what felt like 4 hours, the lab siege was finally over, allowing us to grab the upgraded keycard and sit watching Ashley sleep in a not-so-creepy way at all. Despite Ashley being unfortunately with us again, we head into the factory room with the smell of victory, the closest it had ever been. After flipping the switch in the smelting room, we almost throw everything away. Whilst battling the crowds of enemies in here, I accidentally flamethrowed Ashley in the face, incapacitating her. You can imagine how far my stomach fell out my butthole here. Comically, we were now fighting around Ashley as she sat collapsed on the floor, like a girl trying to make her way home after bottomless brunch. But whilst you may think that she was safe down there throwing up on her shoes, one enemy came probably a fraction of a frame away from burying his axe into her forehead. With the smell of Ashley's burnt eyebrows now filling our nostrils, we find Wesker's samurai edge before heading in to fight the Iron Maiden blocking the route ahead. But a terrible realization had now dawned on me. I had no knife. For those of you that may not know the harrowing truth here, the Iron Maiden has an insta-kill attack in its moveset, which, if you don't have a knife in your possession to escape its grasp, being grabbed by this attack was a death sentence. Rest assured that my arsehole remained puckered for the entirety of this fight. But with the power of anime and blind luck on my side, we take advantage of it stopping momentarily to catch its breath and land a shot onto its third eye. With the garbage area now powered on, if we could take out Ashley's would-be abductors as they spawned in and avoid the double Regenerador ambush, we can arrive safely to tackle the Wrecking Ball segment. Much like the double El Gigante fight, the more time we spend in here, the more our likelihood of being brutally murdered increased. There is an ungodly amount of enemies and brutes that rush in here with all manner of weaponry. But with the blast crossbow, I can replicate the effects that the heavy grenades or an RPG would have on the wall and break it open nice and early and keep the odds of survival forever in our favour.
Nice.
You can imagine how my jaw dropped as this dynamite Hail Mary came flying down, but remarkably, apart from severe concussion, she was just fine. So we double back to take care of the Iron Maiden in the lab for some additional spinels and take the lift up to drop Ashley off at the Sadler daycare. More of the bedsheet warriors arrive to try and restrain us, but after they're sent first class to Sadler Heaven, we enter the Super Army Soldier Showdown.
Hello, are you watching me on YouTube? Good.
I am.
I'd like to play a game with you.
Please no.
The beret-wearing Army Douchebag Gladiator Assault course was largely unchanged.
Dude,
we get a few smatterings.
The way that he moves is so concerning.
Beret-wearing Army Douchebag Gladiator Assault course was largely unchanged. We get a few smatterings of regular foot soldiers, but with this weapon set, particularly the Striker, we might as well have been smashing houseflies with our slippers. In the final section before Krauser shows us his big throbbing arm, there are two brutes in here with us as well. But with the Killer 7 being upgraded to railgun status, they were out of the picture as quickly as they came into it. With the Striker's 400 shell capacity turning the Krauser fight into a game of Splatoon, we keep our health nicely topped up to avoid any accidents and deal enough damage to send Krauser up to the top of the wall.
Oh. Oh. Oh?
Don't tell me he's stuck on that wall.
Oh, no.
It's no way.
Yeah.
I've searched everywhere. I've scoured the internet high and low, and I can categorically say I can find no evidence that shows this glitch having ever happened to anyone else. We were pioneers, discovering new species of human torture at the absolute worst possible moments. The smell of victory had suddenly converted itself into the smell of diarrhea as I began rapidly going through the 5 stages of grief.
No. You just shove him, just move him.
This cannot be happening.
No. Please.
Please move.
Please. No.
It's over. I can't do anything. There was no worse feeling than believing we were about to beat this thing, only to have it ripped away from us at the most inconspicuous moment ever. At 2 AM on day 18, we'd lost everything.
18 days.
A couple of days had passed since that fateful evening. I'd healed somewhat from the devastation that day had caused on my brain, trying to move on as best as I could from what had happened in Pueblo, but no matter how many days passed or however hard I tried to forget, I was reminded every day of what could have been.
Oh my god.
One thing had become increasingly apparent on my journey through these escalating levels of challenges was that I'm just too stupid to quit. The only way to achieve full closure here was to go back to Pueblo and rewrite this wrong. So I rubbed some G Fuel directly into my eyes, and on day 21,
Yo, get this man some fucking gamer subs. That's the wrong thing. Yo, you had gamer subs during this, it would have been done lickety split. What are you talking about? That's the problem right there.
entered the forbidden 6th stage of grief. The grind on day 21 fires a blank, getting us no closer to that beret-wearing sycophant, but regardless, my mental resolve had never been stronger. On day 22, earlier stages had become nothing more than training for what was still to come, and despite a pretty breathtaking collapse late on day 22... Oh my god, I literally can't do anything. On day 23, after 187 hours and 93 attempts, our time had come.
Piece of cake. Easy. Dusted. Nuh-uh. Sent to hell. Not allowed! Okay, maybe it was allowed. Ooh. 10. 11. 12. 13. 14.
All our training, all the blood, sweat, and swamp arse that had leaked into my chair had led us to this moment.
Oh no!
We had been blessed with the God Run, and with just over 8 hours of life used up, we'd made it back to Krauser. Who knew how this glitch had happened, but common sense to me dictated that if we kept him away from that wall, it might just be enough to get him up there. Yes! Oh, thank God for that. A few booby traps later, and we rocket launcher this treacherous piece of shit, stabbing with his own knife, and finally, we enter chapter 15, a new personal best, and the penultimate chapter of the game. Our redemption arc was almost complete, and with Mike providing the most dangerously close, danger close aerial spot I'd ever seen in my life, the first checkpoint here requires nothing more of us than occasionally popping up from our hiding space, like some weird striker-wielding Diglett to pop anyone who escaped Mike's onslaught. We made frequent trips back to the merchant to repair our body armor to ensure our health remained safeguarded, and with Mike continuing to obliterate everyone in our path, we destroyed the AA turret early with the blast crossbow, meaning that we can continue to use him to melt away the reinforcements before the cutscene triggered his exit.
Nice!
In the next area, our disciplined Spartan-esque retreat back up the tower made sure that anyone who was stupid enough to follow us up here was sent immediately back down. With the first wave deleted, the turret gunners can be JFK'd from the top of the tower before we turn both gate locks off, continuing to use the same shoot and retreat tactic to eliminate any reinforcements. We watch on as Mike nosedives Black Hawk Downstar handle 2 very high-energy religious missionaries before moving very carefully around the Iron Maidens to enter the island's last stand.
Ooh.
This was literally the final obstacle. My nervousness was now palpable. I felt stressed, worried, anxious, all of the above, all at the same time. Ammo was running pretty tight, but using our remaining spinels, we can purchase additional gunpowder from the merchant, which allows us to craft just enough to get us through here. Which was almost made irrelevant when we take an immediate hammer to the face. Watching my health vanish further and further to zero was immensely tense, and after thanking God for this body armor,
Huh? Did I? Was there? Audio was claimed. Okay, understood, understood. Sorry. Must have been one of the background sounds. Hold on. Please hold. Please hold. Ew! 4 a.m. Wait, are we gonna find out that this is real? Hi!
Luckily, the Killer 7 was basically a god killer at this point, so a single flash keeps this little home wrecker stunned and
Ooh.
well away from me. Every shot felt cathartic, like I was releasing the pain of every failure we had so far.
Oh my god!
Justice for all the times we robbed the Romans from these troglodytes. And it was done. All that we had to do now was make sure that we didn't crash the jet ski.
Please, 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 please!
Nah, I'm just kidding. Totally.
Okay. Okay.
However, like the Tiger King, I wasn't sure that I'd ever mentally recover from this, but on day 23, it was finally over. Not only had I completely destroyed myself mentally, physically, and spiritually, but I'd bloated my Steam playtime from 204 hours to over 400. So now everyone could publicly see what an absolute loser I was.
Wow.
Anyways, I'm off to a wellness retreat to recover from this challenge, but let me know in the comments if there's any games or challenges you would like to see next. I clearly loathe myself and my mental health knows no limit, so feel free to make it as difficult as you like.
Yay! Oh my god, what a journey, dude! Okay, all right. This was a lot. And it was very fun to see, not so much the suffering, right? But definitely the improvement going through the chapters and getting them down pat and everything else. And then the absolute relief that he must have felt getting it done is insane. It's definitely a rush of dopamine, and that's probably why he continues to put himself through this bullshit. I'm gonna be honest with you. But it's very, very nice to see someone play through an entire game in one life. As I said during the video, it's definitely something that's piqued my interest, and I'm just kind of hooked, ain't gonna lie to you. So this is dopamine for me, so I can't even imagine for him once he was able to get it all the way through. Absolutely incredible. Please, 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 please make sure you go check out the original video. It's gonna be linked down below. If you like my video, make sure you like and subscribe so I can see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.